Am I the a-hole for sleeping with my ex's best friend? Okay, the title seems a little extreme, I know, and fair warning, I am on mobile, so it might look/sound weird. We need to start off with the best friend for some background. I have known A since sophomore year of high school. We are in our senior year now. I always knew there's been something between us, but we were both not ready for anything. Within the 2 years of knowing each other, I can say he is one of my best guy friends, and I love him platonically. He's been with me through heartbreaks, addictions, therapy, etc. He knows me so well and knows how to help me when I'm in need. Now, my ex, G, we met in our junior year of high school in class together. When we first met, I was in an awkward relationship and was being cheated on. He was one of the first people I told since we had gotten very close within a couple months. After the relationship, we only got closer. We would hang out with both our friends, A included. A encouraged us to get together, and so we did. However, the relationship was very rushed, and we did not think about boundaries, expectations, or anything in a relationship until after our first fight. I'm not saying the relationship was bad. In fact, he actually helped me a lot mentally, but I wasn't mentally there for it, and I don't think he was either. That ended the relationship after 6-ish months. We have been no contact since then. However, A and G still hang out multiple times a week. They've been best friends for years since middle school, and it was never an issue with me. But now I keep getting told I effed up or I'm the one in the wrong for this. A came over to my house. My mom isn't really worried about stuff happening since we have an open communication household, aka she's there to help me in times of need, and I don't have to hide things from her. And, well, we started watching Pitch Perfect, and it led to us play fighting in my room. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It happened before, but maybe there was something else. I was tempted to kiss him then, but I know it would be wrong since he's my ex's best friend. Anyway, he left and we planned to hang out the next day since he only lives a 5-minute walk away. My mom wasn't home again, but she met A and was okay with us being alone. We never finished Pitch Perfect, so that's what we did at first. But the same thing happened again and we started to play fight in my room again. I told him to do it, implying to him to make the first move, but I ended up doing it first anyway. Long story short, we ended up sleeping together. I don't know how to feel because it was nice and I want to do it again, but I can also see a genuine relationship with him. He's been texting me a lot and calling me love and hun. I just need advice and to see if I'm actually the a-hole. I know not everyone will agree with me, but I'm a firm believer that the whole idea of this, like, oh, you can't date your friend's exes or your ex's this or that, like, I think it's kind of ridiculous, especially if you end things somewhat amicably, if you can be adults about it and talk. I don't think that just because you dated one person that you can never be with their friend, even if you'd be a perfect match. So I don't think that's an a-hole thing at all. And it's been quite a bit of time. It sounds like 6 months, 2 years, I don't know. There's at least been a year or something there. So yeah, no, I don't think that's an a-hole move at all. I would also say I don't feel like you need to rush into things, and folks around that age also, I'd recommend don't rush into anything too intimate either. I don't know. It can muddy stuff up, but this is just the old man in me coming out, so do what you're gonna do. Please be safe, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, I don't think this person is an a-hole at all. Disagree with me if you want in the comments, but my high school and after high school fiance and I broke up. She got together with my best friend at the time, and they're married, and they're a perfect couple. So why would I not want that? I like them both as people, so I should want that. I just found out that the babysitter was breastfeeding my son without my consent? Oh. I, 28 female, just found out that the babysitter was breastfeeding my son without my consent. I, 28 female, am a single working mom. I remained pregnant in a previous relationship with my ex and decided to carry on the pregnancy since I was very excited to become a mom. I was able to get a 12-week unpaid maternity leave from work, and after that, since I live very far away from my family and had no one who could help me, I started looking for a babysitter. Unfortunately enough, in no time, I found a fellow 32 female mom who agreed to come to my house and watch and take care of my newborn 5 days a week for 9 hours, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. She was super nice and bonded with my child pretty easily, and since she seemed very skilled, I was very serene. I didn't give her many rules to follow other than a summary of everything that's happening during my work shifts at home and that she isn't allowed in my bedroom. Before going to work, I always made sure to leave all the necessaries like diapers, pacifier, his favorite plushie, etc. on the table. Also leaving the milk I pumped in baby bottles inside the fridge, which she was instructed to use. The first 2 months went absolutely great with no issues whatsoever. When I came home, she would summarize everything that happened / she did, and I always found everything in perfect order. Plus, she used baby bottles, so she was following the indications I gave her. However, some strange things started happening during my newborn's 6th month. He started refusing my breasts altogether, refusing to latch on, and after a while of me gently trying, he would start to get annoyed. But he accepted the biberon with my milk just fine. After talking with the babysitter, who was a mother before me, and doing some research, I concluded that it could have been something related to the fact that he got used to the biberon, or to the fact that I may have a different smell. It was a very stressful period, so it could have been. Either way, I didn't think too much of it since he was still getting fed, until it became impossible for me to keep pumping because I wasn't producing enough milk anymore. So I decided to switch to the formula and gave instructions to her like usual. Also, I decided to start weaning my child, and I asked her to introduce some solid foods too. However, after 2 months at his 8th month, I started to feel like something wasn't adding up. In 2 days, it seemed like I was using way more formula than her in 5 days, so I confronted her about it and asked her if she was using formula, and she confirmed. I then thought it was my impression, even because the baby had never complained. However, something was still troubling me. So the next day I hid a GoPro in my living room and an old phone recording in the kitchen just to make sure. And when I came back and watched the recordings, everything started to make sense. I was horrified. After I went away, she took my baby, sat on the sofa, and started breastfeeding him. Not once, but thrice for a lot of time. I was shocked. My baby was latching to another woman's breast after he refused mine, and now it started to make sense why. But not only that, she never went to the kitchen to get formula or to get some solid food for the baby, but only to cook for herself. And while she was eating, she was still breastfeeding my baby, keeping him with one hand under the butt. But the worst thing is, she was trying to get herself to be called mama by the newborn. She sat him on her legs and started saying things like, "Say mama, who am I? Mama," and my son uttered it, and she replied back with, "That's my good boy," and kissed him. After that, I was trying to get myself not to puke. I was heartbroken, and I felt like I trusted the worst woman I could ever trust. After that, I immediately called her and confronted her at my house. I told her I knew everything, and I showed her the videos. Her response was that my son needed a real mother in her life, not a mother available only 2 days a week, and also that she was not going to feed formula to a baby of frozen milk, but that she was only going to feed him with real milk, admitting that she had done it since day one. I will not report the entire discussion because after that I wasn't polite at all. Needless to say, I fired her immediately. Not only did she breastfeed my son without my consent, but she was even trying to replace me. I am horrified and broken. Right now, I took a week out of work. I need to process everything that happened, and also I need to reconnect with my son. I feel like our family was violated. Holy crap, is that just not okay? Like, I don't care what your stance is on like formula and stuff like that. Like, it would have been one thing if the mom knew, like, if this mother was like, well, hey, I'm producing plenty of milk. I could do the breastfeeding for you so you could have it naturally. Have a discussion with her. She might have been okay with that. But you did it behind your back, which is creepy. So for the person writing this, that right there is such a huge red flag for you to just be doing this behind the back and not even giving the mother's milk. Like, I don't necessarily think the actual biological mother's milk is more special than other milk, but she was leaving it. Use that milk. And then to be like, yeah, I'm using the formula and giving solid food, but you're still just breastfeeding and having the baby call you mama? No, that's super creepy. Like, that's enough to where it feels it should be illegal. Like, it feels like this person should be able to prosecute this woman or something, because that's just not cool. You don't do that stuff with other people's kids. That's such a weird invasion. Like, ugh. I've been secretly fattening up 2 coworkers for talking crap about a friend of mine. I've known my friend since high school. I'll call him Bob. We're both in our 40s now and ended up briefly working for the same company but in different locations. Sometimes employees travel to different locations for training and whatnot, and a little over a year ago my buddy ended up here for a half day of training. My friend has a lisp. He's self-conscious about it, was teased in high school, and is affected his self-image and self-esteem. The guy is all heart and really is a cool guy if you get to know him. He's a bit overweight and pretty self-conscious about that too. I was here the day Bob came to train, but the next day I went to the front office with 2 of the secretaries to say good morning. Like always, we had a good rapport, and they were talking with a fake lisp and absolutely cracking up like it was the funniest thing in the world. I knew my friend was here, but asked them anyway what the lisp was about. The 2 a-holes didn't know Bob was one of my oldest friends. They could barely keep a straight face about how the guy from the other place sounded like a loser who probably would never find a woman. He looked greasy, he was fat. Can you imagine what he would sound like in bed, lisping and sweating? Ha ha ha. Crap like that. I was peed, but kept a good poker face. Kinda chuckled and said something to the effect of, "You guys are terrible." They seemed proud of themselves. These 2 a-holes have a sweet tooth. For the last year, I've relentlessly been bringing them donuts, chocolates, Starbucks drinks with so much sugar they could give an elephant diabetes. Ice cream cakes, candy, anything that is calorie-dense and sweet. It's not hard to make them eat. I just say stupid cliche funny stuff like diet starts tomorrow or, oh, if you take small bites, there's fewer calories. They laugh and eat. No joke, they've gained about 40 pounds apiece and now complain about crap like finding clothes and being tired all the time. One of them was spilling her guts to the other about her husband not wanting to sleep with her anymore. Bob never found out about what they said. He left the company for greener pastures shortly after that incident. He's doing good. I have no intention of stopping. It feels a little insidious to be targeting people's health and well-being when, granted, they were jerks and they deserve some kind of comeuppance, but I don't know, like, targeting them for a year with all this, I mean, granted, they are able to just say, oh, no thanks, no more chocolates, this and that, you know, like, I don't know exactly how I feel about this one. Like, they deserved something, but, I would also say maybe have some intention of stopping eventually, like, I don't know, talk with them. I'm in a toss-up because I don't like bullies and people talking about people behind their back and making fun of them, but this does seem like a fairly extreme revenge plot. Also kind of an expensive one for you. Like, I don't know why you would want to be spending this much money on them. I think you're good. I think you can stop. The kid next door, using binoculars to peer into my window, was picked up by my security camera. Parent freaked out that I'm using cameras. Backstory. Neighbors have 3 boys, all under the age of 7. In my first encounter with the mom, she promptly tells me, not asks, that her kids wander. I naively thought that meant there might be the odd rogue ball episode or something, so don't protest all the time. Our yards are unfenced and we share a driveway. Oh boy. Was I wrong. My yard, back deck, front garden, and even the inside of my house were seen as an extension of their space. The boys would even have sword fight tournaments on my back deck off my kitchen. The parents would literally do nothing. I was put in a position many times to ask for more privacy as if it was affecting my work and a general sense of well-being as I'm a very private person. It took some push, but finally things got a bit better. But they still wander, however, to a level I'm not willing to cause drama over. This past early winter, I decided to put in security cameras. I live alone in a not-so-great area, and I wanted some peace of mind. I also wanted to document encroachment in case it got bad again. In that time, the cameras have picked up a lot of encroachment from kids, but I did not raise the issue because the relationship with parents is peaceful, and I wanted to keep it that way. Fast forward to yesterday, my camera picks up a clip of the middle kid peering into my window with a pair of binoculars. I sent that clip to the parents explaining one of my cameras picked it up and that I'm not comfortable with this behavior. It's inappropriate and an invasion of my privacy. They sent a note back saying he was only trying to see if I was home so he could say hello. Then insisted on knowing more about my security cameras, what they can see and if they pick up the kids playing in their yard. I explained that they don't, as they only pick up motion in my yard. But if the kids are in my yard, which they are, a lot, they are recorded. The parents are insisting I take the cameras down. The lesson is, entitled parents raise entitled children. I'm frightened to see what kind of adults these kids will turn into. Who knows if I'll be here long enough to find out. I'm all for, like, letting kids, wander between yards and stuff like that. Like, yeah, okay, if they play in my yard, whatever. They're kids, and it's just a yard. As long as they're not, like, wrecking stuff or destroying it, that's fine. Whatever. I mean, thankfully, I don't live around any kids, so I don't have to worry about that. But if I did, it wouldn't be a big deal. But you do also have the right to monitor your yard, because what if they do wreck stuff? Well, now you can be like, hey, I'm okay with your kids using the yard, but why did they chop my tree down? They can't do that. You gotta fix that. Like, of course, yeah, you're not aiming cameras at their house and like capturing their kids and being malicious about it. You're just like, look, if your kids are gonna be in my space is monitored, so if you don't want the kids on camera, you gotta tell them to stay out. It's that simple. This is not a difficult thing. I'm sorry, entitled parents, get your crap together, because the lady writing this, 1000% in the right. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.